Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Wednesday, the 29th of July, comes to you from London. And the dollar continuing to sink lower. Here we see the weekly candle, we see the daily chart, series of days, and the 60-minute chart showing up the last week as well. So, remembering this is my long-term, my medium-term, my short-term view, weekly, daily. 60 minute. We do have this downside target here, not yet quite activated, so that's the one to watch on the dollar, but it is really quite a bearish picture. And if we look at the euro against the dollar, that is therefore looking strong, sitting at that 117 level. Sterling also pushing higher to 129.58, so we're seeing that weaker dollar really taking its toll there. Looking at sterling against the euro, we're back above the 110 level, so we're just seeing a little bit of sterling strength showing through there, which is good news for sterling. Bitcoin breaking $11,000, so that continues to run. It was only $9,000 a few days ago, and it's really motoring now, so we're breaking out, looking bullish on all three time frames. The US stock market, the S&P 500 index was down 0.2% last night. The Nasdaq 100 was also lower, and we're actually seeing here just bearish movement on the short-term chart. A lot of tech stocks reporting this week, so it'll be interesting to see the results season and how that affects stocks. But for the moment, we're slightly bearish here, and we do have a downside target some 10% lower that is activated on the short-term chart. The Dow was down just over 0.75% as well, sinking lower there. And the futures today, the S&P future is up 0.2%, and the Nasdaq E-mini is up 0.4%, so it looks like we might open slightly higher. The VIX volatility sitting steady at around 25, so it is still twice the levels that we saw at the start of the year, but it is managing just to stay around that level, so the market is very much in sideways mode really. The FTSE 100 index, the future is up 0.2% this morning. The cash market in Germany down very slightly, and the CAC Quarante is actually up just under 1%. So we're seeing a fairly mixed picture in Europe. The Japanese yen is down 1.2%. The Japanese market is down to 1.2% on a stronger yen against the dollar. So we are just seeing the yen, the Japanese market lower there. Hang Seng was actually up 0.5%, and the Shanghai composite was actually up 2%. So we're undoing some of the fallback that we saw there, pushing for a move higher, just holding on to the short-term bullish. So Chinese stocks looking pretty good. The Sensex was down 0.6%, and the Aussie market was down just under 0.25%, so just struggling there. Looking at the gold chart, still looking very bullish on all three time frames. Long-term targets here. We nudged that 1960 target yesterday, so that was met. We're sitting at 1956, 57 this morning. We were as high as 1980 actually yesterday, so intraday. So we are seeing gold just pushing higher. The 2,000 mark beckons, $2,000 an ounce, so watch for that. Silver hitting major resistance at $25, but boy oh boy has it jumped in the last week or two. And looking at US 10-year yields, sitting at 0.59%, just below the 0.6 level, and teetering along, waiting for Fed announcements this week as well, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Taking a look at the energy mix, Brent crude is up this morning, sitting at 43.60, not enough to take us into positive territory here. So at the moment we are a bit range bound on Brent, and if we look at WTI, we're just up just under 1%, and again just struggling to get into bullish territory here, targets in both directions. US nat gas sitting at 179, we had a target for 180, which we got to 181. We do have a mix of targets here, but short-term bullish at the moment. Storage numbers tomorrow will be important. Looking at coal, just below the $60 mark, but still looking pretty bullish in recovery. We do have a couple of downside targets, but also some support there on the 1 minute chart. Emissions are really struggling to to stay positive. We're just in that short-term bear trend on emissions. We have activated this upside target 27.55 yesterday, so that is significant, but we need to really cross on the 60-minute chart to be sure that we're back into bull mode on emissions. The long-term recovery is still very much in train. Looking at MBP, we're up 4% this morning, so we're just seeing this wandering out of the downtrend. That's front month MBP and front month TTF back above the €5 mark. So that is good news for TTF, and we see here we're just back into bullish mode on the short-term chart as well. We've got targets of 520. Keep an eye on those 1-minute charts on your OTC data. Looking at winter gas, also up this morning, not quite as bullish yet as MBP on the short-term chart. Power markets up this morning, so German power's up 1%, still in bear mode on the short-term chart, bull mode on the medium-term chart. So we still need to get really back above this €40 mark. For the moment, we are just seeing here a little bit of an upside target to 39.70, which we're getting quite close to. French power just deteriorated a bit here. It's holding its medium-term bull trend, but short-term it's looking bearish. And if we look at Nordic power, it's failed recovery here. We just failed to get through the chart, and we're pushing to new lows. That April low for Nordic power quite key. We've got downside targets some 9% lower, so keep an eye on those charts as well. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.